We see how fast things are changing around us, especially when it comes to technology and customer expectations. But leading and managing change is an important part of an entrepreneur's life. However, the success of that change is often to be determined, and sometimes it's often not very successful because people are often left behind, and those people are your staff and your customers. Now, Betsy Bond is an expert in change management, and she's the president of Bonding Change, and joins me here today to talk about what change management is and how entrepreneurs can be better at it. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, what are or why are people so important in the change management process?
When you think about change, often businesses will make a decision to make a change, and they say, we'll implement a new system. And that's great, they implement the system. When I look at change, I think about what are the behaviors of the future. So we can implement a system, but if people don't use it, then we get no benefit. So that's why if fundamentally change happens and you get your benefits when people change what they do. And if we don't pay attention to people, you don't get there.
They need to come along with you. So I talked earlier about how the pace of change is quick. What are you seeing now when you're working with organizations? What types of changes are happening?
Well, really, I work with all kinds of different organizations, and the changes are very broad. But if you think about the sort of medium-sized organization or the entrepreneurial type organization, I would say what we're seeing is growth. They're trying to grow and expand from that initial brilliant idea that started off their organization. And when you think about an organization who's going through growth, it's about trying to keep up with the pace of change and making sure that the elements that you're bringing in to grow your business, to scale your business to be a larger size, are bringing people along and that they can be successful.
So that could be technology, it could be process, policy?
Exactly. So in my experience, we're seeing the bringing in of systems and solutions to help, it could be a time tracking system, it could be a more robust invoicing system, or something to better manage customer interactions. From a process standpoint, all of those come with a heavy process need. And it could just be growing the skill set. A small organization tends to have Jacks and Janes of all trades. When you're growing, you start to get that specialization and that role definition. And that's a cultural change for a company that you really have to pay attention to.
How good are entrepreneurs at managing and leading this change? Or entrepreneurs are often driven by their passion for their business. Do they have the skill set to do this the right way?
Well, what I find working with entrepreneurs is you have, as you said, a very clear passion for whatever their expertise area is. Maybe it's a craft brewery that they've brought to life, or maybe they bring forward a particular brand of consulting and expertise in that area. So when it comes to leading the change management side of it, there's this particular skill sets that you need, and all that passion is well served for growing that element of the business, but sometimes the change elements are forgotten. And that's things around truly sponsoring and leading the change, proper and detailed communications for the employees, for the customers, vendors, it depends on who you're working with. Training, dealing with resistance, because people don't like to change. So it's those types of skills that sometimes are lacking.
So it sounds like they need to have a team around them to make sure that this is successfully implemented.
Certainly, there's always different ways that you can accomplish it. And if I were to say how to augment that skill set, there's 3 avenues. First of all, you would say perhaps coaching. So how can you help that leader build that or layer in those skills to the change that they're trying to implement? Another aspect would be just outsource it. Find experts. There's many associations out there that can tap into change management experts, like the Association of Change Management Professionals, which is a global organization. And the third one is to build competency and capacity to be able to do the work. And then you may look at organizations like ProSci, who are offering training programs at all levels, whether it's a change practitioner or a sponsor or a manager, to help grow that competency internally. So I think there's many options.
What does so we talked about building that skill set and having the experts around you. What does successful change look like in an organization?
Well, to me, it's back to the first point I made, which is behaviors. So successful change is really that we have the behaviors of the future. So I have implemented a system. Fabulous. You have this brand new shiny system and nobody's using it. So to me, that's what failure looks like.
Right.
And success looks like people are using it, you're hitting the targets that you achieved, you set out to achieve, and you're getting those benefits out of it. So success often is leaders who have been completely bought in and sponsoring, and people in the organization who have changed their behavior, and they now view it as, yeah, this is just how we do things. It's business as usual. That's your goal for your change.
So to bring people along that change, you have to explain that what's in it for me factor in order for them to get to using that system, correct?
Yes, absolutely. We love the acronym, the WIFM, what's in it for me, and it's all about articulating the benefits to employees, what can they get out of it. Maybe it's an easier day on their job, it's a better way to process or get information, or it's a simpler process, or it's just building their skills. There's so many different angles, and I find the best way to find out what's in it for them is to ask them. Get them to tell you what they think it is, and they'll probably come up with things that you haven't thought of.
And people think of change often as the big change, but it can be something small too, like
Absolutely.
payroll or a customer contact point. From a leadership or a development perspective, can change management help grow your staff in any way?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that I do, I talked about coaching and outsourcing and teaching and building the competency. Well, one of the things that I do in my work is part of that teaching and educating. So in terms of growing skill set, from the employee base, it's about understanding that change isn't always bad, that there can be benefits. From a manager standpoint, it's about teaching leaders how to truly lead their people through change. From the sponsors, it's about being the voice of the vision, the voice of the vision and the strategy and where you're trying to achieve. And then you have the people who may just be tasked with doing change management, a practitioner. They're growing a unique skill set that can be applied across the board.
Very interesting. I'm really glad that you came in to talk about change management today.
Anytime.
Thanks, Betsy.
You're welcome.